The moment the final buzzer rang out across the arena, it didn't just signal a win, it marked a seismic shift in the WNBA's entire landscape. The Indiana Fever, counted out, written off, buried under predictions of another dominant Lynx performance, rose from a disastrous first quarter and flipped the script in spectacular fashion. They didn't just win the 2025 Commissioner's Cup. They announced, with champagne and fire, that they are no longer the WNBA's underdog storyline, they are the Storm. And while Caitlin Clark didn't log a single minute on the stat sheet, she became the living, screaming, dancing symbol of what this team truly represents: defiance, heart, and an unrelenting will to rewrite their destiny. It's almost poetic. The most viral footage from that epic night didn't come from a buzzer beater or a no-look assist. It came from the locker room, drenched in champagne and pure adrenaline, with Caitlin Clark leaping around like she'd just hit the game winner herself. No uniform, no box score presence, just raw, contagious joy. She wasn't just happy for her team, she was her team in that moment. She shouted, "I just know the rest of the league is sick," and the internet absolutely detonated. That one unscripted, off-the-cuff comment wasn't a dig, it was a truth bomb. Because deep down, everyone knew she was right. This wasn't supposed to happen. The Minnesota Lynx came into this game as heavy favorites, boasting one of the deepest and most balanced rosters in the league. ESPN had their graphics preloaded, headlines ready to roll: Lynx dominate Fever to capture Commissioner's Cup. They were so confident in the narrative that a premature YouTube thumbnail went live midway through the game, predicting a Lynx victory before the final horn had even sounded. But the Fever didn't get that memo. What began as a lopsided mess, Indiana trailing by 13, looking flat, frustrated, and borderline defeated, transformed into one of the most stunning turnarounds in WNBA history. It started with a defensive masterclass. The Fever clamped down in the second quarter so aggressively, so relentlessly, that the Lynx couldn't buy a bucket for over 8 minutes. 8 full minutes. In pro basketball, that's an eternity. A suffocating, demoralizing eternity. Indiana launched an 18-0 run, and just like that, the game was flipped on its head. It wasn't just the score that shifted. It was the energy, the body language, the belief. The Fever smelled blood. And Caitlin Clark, pacing the sidelines like a coach with skin in the game, was the emotional engine. Every rebound, every hustle play, every swing pass, she reacted like she had made it herself. Her laser-focused intensity was unmistakable, and it bled through the entire bench. She didn't need to suit up to leave her mark. She was already leading. When the final horn finally echoed and the scoreboard confirmed the unthinkable, Indiana 74, Minnesota 59, there was no hesitation. Clark was the first to explode in celebration, diving into teammates' arms, hollering at the top of her lungs, and pulling out her phone to blast her "Proud of my girls" moment to the world. Fans and media alike couldn't share it fast enough. TikTok, Twitter, Reels, ESPN, Bleacher Report. That clip became the anthem of the night, not because she was celebrating herself, but because she was celebrating them. And therein lies the real story. Caitlin Clark didn't just celebrate like she belonged in that win, she was part of that win. Her presence, her leadership, her belief in every woman in that locker room fueled the culture Indiana is building. A culture where superstars don't hog the spotlight, they redirect it. A culture where role players like Sophie Cunningham can come off the bench and drop 13 points with 7 boards. Where Natasha Howard can stuff the stat sheet with 16 points and 12 rebounds while shutting down one of the league's most dangerous scorers. Where Aaliyah Boston becomes the anchor, grinding out a double-double with 12 points, 11 rebounds, and 6 assists. And where Ari McDonald sparks the tempo like her shoes were laced with lightning. This wasn't a one-woman show. This was a full-blown team assault. No one scored more than 16 points. No one needed to. It was about pace, grit, and defensive pressure that left Minnesota unraveling in real time. The Lynx looked stunned, flat, almost resigned. They didn't just lose, they got bulldozed. And the WNBA took notice. Suddenly, the narrative that the Fever were helpless without Caitlin Clark fell apart. This was supposed to be the proof that Indiana couldn't compete without their phenom on the floor. But instead, it became proof that what Clark has helped build runs deeper than her box score. It was a message to the league that the Fever can win any way they want, through her or around her. Because this team isn't just built to orbit Caitlin Clark. It's built to grow with her. That's why her "I know the league is sick" comment hit like a freight train. Because it wasn't cocky. It was factual. The league had dismissed Indiana the second Caitlin wasn't in uniform. Commentators assumed the Fever wouldn't make it a contest. Social media ran with predictions of disaster. But Clark saw what no one else did. She saw a locker room full of women ready to carry the weight. And they did. More importantly, she celebrated them. In an era where egos often fill more space than stat sheets, Caitlin chose to hype her teammates, film their joy, and scream louder for their wins than her own. That kind of leadership can't be taught. It's instinctual. And for a rookie to already be that heartbeat, that's terrifying for the rest of the league. Because if the Fever can do this without her, what happens when she's back? What happens when Caitlin is launching logo threes, orchestrating fast breaks with Boston, and punishing defenses with surgical precision? The locker room clip wasn't just content. It was a warning. The Fever are more than just hype now. They're real. They're cohesive. And they're coming. That's why this win matters so much more than a mid-season trophy. The Commissioner's Cup, while shiny and lucrative, with each player reportedly pocketing $50,000 to $60,000, is just a symbol. What it represents is much larger. It tells the WNBA world that Indiana is ahead of schedule, that the rebuild is becoming a revival, and that Caitlin Clark, even when she's not playing, is reshaping what leadership looks like in this league. For the critics, the doubters, the talking heads who said this team was a one-hit wonder or a media-created mirage, this win was the mic drop. And Clark didn't even need to suit up to drop it. She just needed to speak the truth, wave that trophy, and scream her pride into a live stream while champagne sprayed like a baptism of belief. This wasn't just about beating the Lynx. It was about redefining expectations. The Fever are no longer a cute story or a work in progress. They're a threat. And Caitlin Clark, whether on the court or in street clothes, is the pulse keeping this team alive, alert, and absolutely dangerous. What do you think? Did the Fever just become real contenders? Can Indiana go all the way once Caitlin returns to the court? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're riding with the Fever, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because one thing's for sure, this story is only getting started.